Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Mole Hole with the hardest working sports announcer in St. Louis that nobody's ever heard of. He's Randy Bowman, and the show starts now. Good morning, St. Louis, and welcome to The Mole Hole here on KXOK 102.9 FM, the Spanish voice of St. Louis City and the St. Louis Cardinals, and your St. Louis metro area home of the SIUE Cougars, women's basketball and men's basketball being aired here on this side of the state, right here on KXOK. We're also, of course, on Webster Grove's own KWRH 92.9 FM. And streaming all over the place. KXOK.com, KWRH 929, Radio STL, US Radio Network, STL Sports Zone. We're all over the place. And you can hear the show live every Thursday, 8 o'clock. And right off the jump, we're going to talk to SIUE women's basketball coach Samantha Quigley-Smith. Their season starts tonight, exhibition game against Division II Maryville, a good local matchup for an exhibition game. And welcome. Thank you, by the way, for getting up early, and welcome to the show, Coach.
Yes, great to be here. I'm always up early.
Well, that's true.
And hey, never heard of you. I've heard of you.
Yeah. There's one person. Woohoo! One person out there.
More than one.
Coach Sam, by the way, I was like, thank you for getting up early right as I said that. I don't know one coach that doesn't get it. Yeah, I don't know how good a coach would be if they slept in every day, right?
This is true. This is very true.
Coach, you start tonight. Well, yeah. Talk about that. You've got a house full of kids that
children.
Yeah. Hold on.
They had the last, so this morning is going to be a little rough.
So
have to go to school now.
I was going to ask you. I know you're a big fan of Halloween. You've got a house full of kids who probably all get into Halloween. Talk a little bit before I get into the season. Did you dress up, number one? And if you didn't, what did your kids dress up at this year?
I did dress up. I was a witch.
Okay.
Yep. And then our kids, our boys were the USA basketball team.
I saw a picture of that. That was awesome.
Yep. We had Larry Bird and John Stockton in the house. And then our daughter was a cat.
Now, did the young boy who dressed up as Larry Bird, your son, did he also talk trash throughout the night? Was that
Yeah. But that was already him. He didn't even need to be Larry Bird to do that. But they had their gold medals, and they had they were all set up. It was great. That's
awesome. We had a neighborhood Halloween party. I don't know if you remember, if you know the Christmas movie. It's like a claymation movie that had the Heat Miser and the Freeze Miser.
Yes, I saw your costume too on Facebook. That was impressive.
I was the Heat Miser. My wife was the Freeze Miser.
Awesome. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Halloween is my favorite holiday, though.
I'm a big fan as well. All right.
Yeah.
You start tonight against Maryville, exhibition game at home tonight at the Vidalabine Center in Edwardsville, First Community Arena. This is your third season coming in. Is there look, it's been 7 months, right? And now you get to play somebody different. Is the team excited? Is everyone raring to go for tonight?
Yeah, definitely. It's a different energy and different vibe, that's for sure. And you practice, for weeks and weeks just against each other. And we had one close scrimmage, but now to be able to play an actual game with uniforms on, all the lights on, it's just really, really exciting. And a crosstown kind of rival game too against the Maryville, who had a pretty good season last year. So certainly not going to be easy. So that's exciting for our group.
Talk about a little bit. I want to get into some of the players on the team for sure for our listeners, but talk a little bit about the purpose of the exhibition game. Like, what are you looking to get out of it? I know you're always looking to win no matter what, right? But
yeah,
absolutely.
What
about this game? Like, what are you looking to get out of this game tonight against Maryville?
A lot of it is, the things you've been working on the last few weeks and getting to put them into a live play. We do have practice guys and a practice team that comes and plays against and scrimmages our women. but to be playing against other women and just to be able to see some of these things come to fruition that you've been working on, I think the execution part of it is really, really important. You're trying to do some of these things you've been working on for weeks, while at the same time, like, you also want to choose an opponent that's going to be challenging, that's going to, make things difficult and not going to be necessarily like a walk in the park type game. You want your team to be challenged, because we turn around and we go to Oklahoma State on Monday, and then we play in Eastern Kentucky, who had a really great year last year, back here at home on next Thursday. So you want a game that's going to prepare you for those things, while at the same time your team and your program feel success and they feel some confidence, exiting this game tonight. So I would say that's the majority of what you're trying to look for in an exhibition game, and all around just your team getting that experience of playing together and getting to see different lineups and those types of things.
Yeah, so you've been doing this a while now. You were a high-level player at DePaul, and then you ended up you've been a head coach for several years now at different levels. Do you generally, after an exhibition game, does something jump out sometimes where you say, well, you know what, we've been practicing for months, and this is something new that I just noticed in this exhibition game that works or doesn't work? Does that happen also?
I wouldn't say anything like super surprising. I think there's things tonight that we'll probably go back and watch the film and say, like, wow, we need to get better at that. I think if anything, it is us looking at some of the things we already do and saying, wow, we got to work on that more. We've got to hone that in. We've got to talk about that. We've got to teach a little bit more. But for the most part, like, you're at the point of the season and the point of the time of year where, like, you want to be fully prepared, and I would say, like, in our 3 years as a coaching staff, this might be the most prepared group we have so far, so just from a returner standpoint, the knowledge of what it is that we want to do and the pace that we want to play, and just a lot of them kind of buying into that type of pace. So yeah, it's going to be fun tonight and going to be an opportunity for our team to get their uniforms on. So can't wait for it.
SIUE women's basketball coach Samantha Quigley-Smith joining us here this morning on the Mole Hole. Let's talk a little bit about KK Rodriguez. Those that are listening in our Webster area on KWRH, they're very familiar with KK. She was a star in high school there. Ended up going to Tulsa, came to SIUE, and has been here a couple of years now. She's back for her last season, preseason all OVC selection. I've talked about it on the broadcast many times. It's just the team is just different when KK is rolling and on the floor.
Yeah, definitely. And her experience, just what she has gone through the last few years and now bringing it to the court as a 5th, 6th-year senior,
Right.
Nowadays that's not completely uncommon. But for KK to just have that veteranness about her, she's a leader, not only on the court, but off the court, and she's someone that we're going to look to during crunch time, when things are tough, when times are, you're going through some adversity in a game. She's going to be somebody who steps up a lot for us. So just really great to have her, and just her overall, like, demeanor and playing hard, her work ethic. We're really trying to guard a little bit different this year than we did last year, and she's really the one that spearheads all of that from a defensive standpoint. Yeah,
I was going to mention that too. Everyone wants to look at the stat sheet. How many points does KK score? How many assists? How many rebounds?
Yeah.
To me, I mean, she's valuable regardless, but when she locks, you usually, and she will usually come to you, right, and say, whoever their best player is, I want to lock that player down.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can happen from the start, from the jump, or even like mid-game, where we feel like a matchup is really hurting us from the guard position, and she's somebody who can really do that. And her ability from an athleticism standpoint to guard 1 to 4, like, there's not a lot of players her size that can guard 1 to 4, but that's how energetic she is, and that's what kind of energy she brings every day.
Head coach at SIUE women's basketball, Samantha Quigley-Smith, joining us here this morning in the Mole Hole. Their season opens tonight. Exhibition game against Maryville at home. Get your tickets at SIUECougars.com. Let's talk about, you've got experienced forwards in this lineup this year. Olivia Clayton is back. She's so strong. You brought in Bree Wooldridge from IUPUI, who's an Elgin, Illinois native. Hallie Smith comes in from SEMO. Talk a little bit about the quote-unquote bigs for you guys this year.
Yeah, those three just really bring us some depth at that position. And they're all different, which is it's really a fun and cool thing because you're going to get a little bit different view of types of post players and power forwards when they get into game. But Olivia is just obviously her returning and her knowing the system and kind of how we want to play, but her ability to run the floor, to rebound, and then you have more of that back to the basket strength in Bree and Hallie that can come in and I would say like kind of be a presence underneath the basket there. And not just from a scoring standpoint, but from a rebounding standpoint and a defensive standpoint. So to just have that balance along with some of our guard play can be a really dangerous type of team this year. But that's what we're going to be about. We're going to be a lot about balance, when it comes to scoring, when it comes to rebounding, and I think that's going to make us harder to guard. At any given night, somebody could have a really great night. So that part of it is going to be a good thing for our program and our team to be in a more balanced situation here.
The one thing I noticed about Olivia Clayton, and she comes back, also transferred the same year with KK from Tulsa. She's 6'2" and she's strong, but she has when she gets the ball with her back to the basket, her first step, spin move, driving to the hoop is about as quick as anyone in the OVC.
Yeah, and her length too. Like that first step, not only is it quick, but it's long. Her wingspan, is 6'3" to 6'4". So just having that length underneath the basket there, and even being able to alter shots on the defensive end. So she's someone who I think is going to have a really kind of a breakout senior season. It'd be great.
All right, let's talk about some newcomers you have at the guard position. Your team, coaches, you look at the roster, and I've been doing, some prep work in, getting ready for the season. You are loaded with shooters at the guard position.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the freshmen first that are coming in this year. Ava Stoller from St. Petersburg, Florida. Czar Williams, who's transferring in from Ren Lake, Springfield, Illinois native, 5'8" guard. Amaya Cobb from Clarksville, Tennessee, freshman. Ava Galuza. Well, let's start with those three first. Let's go with Stoller, Ava Stoller from St. Petersburg, Czar Williams from Ren Lake, and Amaya Cobb from Clarksville.
Yeah, those three, are really going to be a different balance of guard play. And Czar's a little more off the dribble and defensive guru, I guess I would say. But an Ava Stoller from St. Pete Beach can really do everything. She's a break you down off the dribble type point guard and two guard, but then can also shoot it, can pull up. She's going to be someone who can really create things for us on the offensive end, get in the lane, make teams guard us, and to be able to kick out to shooters like Ava Galuza, Amaya Cobb, and Amaya's recovering right now, finishing up from an ACL surgery she had her senior year of high school. But Ava Galuza, she led the state of Illinois in 3-point field goals.
Yeah, for her career.
I think she is right now. Yeah, for her career.
Uh-huh.
So she's someone who's a really, really good shooter and has really deep range too. So players are going to have to go out and guard her. Defense is going to have to extend out there. If they don't, she's going to have some wide open looks. And if they do, that's going to give players like Ava Stoller and Czar ability to get to the rim and just create things for us inside of the paint. So really excited for all of those four just to be a part of this and just their balance, their difference too. Similar to the post players, like they're all kind of different in their own sense. And so we're going to have a little bit different vibe when subs come in.
You talk about you got a late transfer, a senior from Palm Desert, California, played at Orange Coast College, Alexis Legan. She's also a newcomer at the guard position as well. Tell us a little bit about her.
Yeah, she is. She's a lefty who can really shoot it and kind of plays that combination 2-3-4 position. So she's a little bit bigger guard who can, similar to KK and similar to Macy Sylvie, who can like push to the 4 a little bit and really stretch some defenses. They're able to shoot it out from 3 from the perimeter. I think I love that type of lineup where you have a 4 that's very capable of extending defenses and making people come out and guard you. So she's definitely one of those types of players, and she brings a veteran experience too, having transferred and just been at multiple institutions and schools, been a part of different programs. This past year, she was actually recovering from a shoulder surgery and she helped coach. So she was a coach.
Wow.
So seeing someone come in here that has some of that experience from that side of it, who can lead, who can push younger players in the right direction, so very similar to KK. And obviously then we have our returners and our guard play and Molly Sheehan, Macy Sylvie, and Sophie Lois. And they're all very capable 3-point shooters. They all played substantial minutes last year. Some of them started, so to have that experience back and coming into this season, they've got this hungriness about them that I would say is a little bit unique, because they're probably a little salty about how the season ended last year, and those
Right.
three were a part of that and experienced that. And obviously just being a local product from Edwardsville High School, she's won all her life. She's won in grade school and high school. So coming to a program here and now taking it over and just saying to herself, like, I'm going to get us to a winning place, and that's what the Sylvie family's all about.
Yeah. And I was going to get to them as well. Those veterans. I mean, you've got so many capable guards this year that even if one of your shooters gets a little cold, you've got 2, 3, 4 more guards that can score. That there should be really good balance at that position, right? As in at the 2 and 3 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I really think they're latching on to the guarding side of it. There's two sides of the basketball, and if you're a high school player right now and you're thinking about how you can impact the game, like, it's on the defensive and rebounding side of it. I've chatted with Macy quite a bit about this. Like, don't worry about your shot falling. Like, that'll happen. Do all the other little things. Get that 50-50 ball, get that rebound that we need. Get us another offensive possession by getting an offensive rebound. So that defensive side of the ball, I think these guards have really bought into, which is it's really exciting for us as coaches.
Head coach Samantha Quigley-Smith of SIUE women's basketball joining us here this morning. Hey, I wanted you to tell our listeners the story and your relationship with the Galuza family. You mentioned Ava Galuza, who's playing for you as a freshman this year from New Lenox, Illinois, set all kinds of three-point shooting records at the high school level. But you're familiar with the whole family, aren't you?
Yes, very interesting. I actually recruited her 2 older sisters when I was at Lewis University, so the Division II program in the Chicagoland area that I was at prior to SIUE here. And so I had left Lewis and come to SIUE, and their younger sister, Ava Galuza, was shooting the ball really well in high school, and so for me not to look into her and recruit her to come down here, and that's that type of family, like just great people, and just all around awesome to still have them in the program and a part of what we're doing. So we say it's a family down here, and let me tell you, like, it's a family. So we recruited that family, and now that family's down here again. So really awesome.
A majority of your roster is from the state of Illinois and the state of Missouri. Talk a little bit about, since you've gotten here, what the local recruiting has been like and the level of talent in both of these states coming out of high school.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been our hub from a recruiting standpoint. It'll continue to be that for us. Not to say we're not going to recruit outside of this, but there's just so much great talent, not only high school program-wise. You've got an Incarnate Word. You've got an Edwardsville High School right here, O'Fallon, who just won the state championship in Illinois. I don't think Incarnate has lost a game in about 4 years, and so recruiting those players, recruiting players from O'Fallon, recruiting players right here in our own backyard in Edwardsville, that's going to be our success here for the next couple of years. And so just continuing to build off that, and then adding pieces like an Ava Stoller from St. Pete Beach, adding pieces like Olivia Clayton, who's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're bringing her home on Monday to go play Oklahoma State. Little pieces like that really make this special, is what we'll continue to do. But that's the talent in this area that you can see. Same with our men's program. They've done a lot of that same type of recruiting too, and look where they're at. So.
Let's talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about before we get to our final question, I want to talk a little bit about your coaching staff. You've got a little bit of turnover this year. 2 new coaches coming in, Liz Duran and Eric Gruber. Talk a little bit about them. Yeah,
Liz came to us from Colorado Springs, and basketball is such a small world in this Midwest community. She was an assistant coach for a gentleman out at Colorado Springs, and he used to coach at Lewis University. with, strangely enough, with my uncle at Lewis University. So I knew him through all of that. And then Liz, moved her and her family here, and just really excited to have her and her experience. She's been coaching now for 15 to 18 years, and just has experience at multiple different levels. And then Eric Gruber from Wisconsin side was an assistant there the last couple of years, and has that experience of the Division II level. And now coming down here to SIUE is just a really great X's and O's type of person. So he and his wife moved here, or in the process of moving here really towards the end of the summer. So just really excited to have those two, in addition to Ariel Massengale, who returns with me. She's from the Chicagoland, Bolingbrook area. I know one of our alums, Lori Blade, who used to coach at Edwardsville, she has nightmares about Ariel and the Bolingbrook Panthers, who I think took down a couple of times in the Sweet 16 in the IHSA tournament. So Ariel brings that great experience, not only from the high school, but she played at Tennessee, played for Pat Summitt. And then we've got two other coaches, Jalen Hines, who's our graduate assistant, was a great player at Hofstra University, so she's finishing up her master's degree. And then Hunter Lindell is from Palatine, Illinois, and he was on the staff at South Carolina for like 6 years as a student manager, as a practice player, a GA for them. And so with Dawn Staley and winning a couple national championships, he knows how to win.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny. You mentioned it several times, out on the recruiting trail, talking to other coaches and having connections that you may not realize there's a direct line connection, but then you start to look at, offline and dotted line connections. And it is amazing, the community in basketball, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's everybody knows everybody to an extent, and if you don't know somebody, you know somebody that knows somebody.
Head coach Samantha Quigley-Smith joining us here in the Mole Hole this morning. Season opens tonight at First Community Arena at Vidal Bean Center in Edwardsville, playing Division II Maryville in an exhibition, and then at Oklahoma State on Monday. Hey, Coach, I did want to talk to you about the schedule this year. You are not your program, and you in particular are not afraid to go travel and take on the big boys, the Power Fives.
No, not at all. So, I mean, I think it's something that we as a smaller mid-major, from a scheduling standpoint, we always have to add a couple of them,
right,
from an administrative standpoint. And so in my experiences, I think it's really great to add ones that are going to challenge you, and they're going to be an experience that you have after you potentially win an OVC tournament. You cut down that net on, I think it's Monday or Sunday, and then you turn around and you have a selection show, and you're going to be a lower seed that has to go play, a high caliber team. Our OVC champion last year, Tennessee Tech, turned around and had to go play Indiana.
Right.
In the second round of the NCAA tournament at Indiana's gym. So to have that experience and to be able to refer to that as a program and a team and say, like, hey, we've done this before. We've done this a couple times in our season, and so for them to be able to have that big stage feeling and experience, in our first season, I think we had some success in playing some of the bigger caliber teams from the Big Ten, from the Big East, and this year we'll play some Big 12 and then another Big Ten opponent in Michigan. And so this program, is going to build off of this from a scheduling standpoint and get ourselves prepared for the OVC come January.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, you've played at Kansas, you've played at Illinois, where you got the victory over the Fighting Illini. Yeah. You played at Louisville, at Iowa State. I mean, big-time programs, and this year it's at Oklahoma State and at Michigan are your two big Power 5 opponents. But the home schedule is really attractive this year. Good programs coming in at the mid-major level or a little, mid to high level. Eastern Kentucky, Evansville, Middle Tennessee, Northern Illinois, all good programs coming into Vidal Bean Center this year.
Yeah, definitely. And programs that have had some recent success.
Yeah.
And everyone's different now when it comes to recruiting, and, there's a transfer portal that's involved here. So you kind of look at rosters and you're like, okay, who's going to play and who's going to start and where'd they come from and how many points did they score and all those things. So, I think it's a little bit unique from a scheduling standpoint. Like you see some storied programs who've had a lot of really great success, but then you also have the transfer portal that comes into play, and everyone's going to be different. So, just learning off of that and our team all around getting some good home games that are winnable games too. I would say from a scheduling standpoint, we're really excited about.
Head coach Samantha Quigley-Smith joining us here this morning from SIUE Women's Basketball. One last question before I let you get to work. The popularity and interest in women's sports in general has really jumped over the last 4 to 5 years. I mean, just noting the 90,000+ that showed up at the University of Nebraska's football field to watch a women's volleyball game, the 55,000 that showed up at Iowa's football stadium to watch Iowa versus your alma mater, DePaul, in an women's exhibition basketball game. Women's soccer, especially the U.S. Olympic and the U.S. World Cup women's soccer team, consistently outdraws the men. It's a great time. And by the way, the WNBA has seen a ratings increase year over year the last 5 years. And you know that more than anybody with your sister Allie, a WNBA star. So talk a little bit about the popularity and the excitement surrounding women's sports and how you feel about that going forward.
Yeah, gosh, it's a great day to be alive. I thought that's what you were going to say. It's a great day to be alive and to be a part of women's sports. You know, like you're a coach and you're in this, you know, and you're seeing things just take off, you know, and that's really happening here at SIUE too, just from a support standpoint. But the whole basketball world, when it comes to the women's side, obviously what Caitlin Clark is doing, what Dawn Staley, South Carolina, what LSU is doing with Angel Reese and with Kim Mulkey, like these are things that are completely changing the game, you know, and obviously NIL is a little bit involved in this and the money that's available for those highest Power Fives, you know, but like these women are becoming faces of the game, you know, and hopefully taking us in a whole different direction, even from a professional basketball standpoint, in our country and in this nation. So just really amazing just to see everything and just see the love that there is for women's sports, you know, and you got all those trolls online that say there's no love for it, but then gosh, the proof's in the pudding when you see all the people watching, you know, and you see all the support for them, you know, so that part of it's really, really exciting. And I'm really happy to be a part of it, you know, and hopefully we can continue to grow things here at SIUE and get to a place of having people wanting to come and see us play all the time, you know, and if you're not following what SIUE is doing, you know, we have a new athletic director who has completely changed the vibe and the energy of this place. And so you come to a game, you're going to get an amazing game day experience. We have a new setup in our upper rafters called Eddyville that has a ton of really great things. When it comes to, you know, a store, we have a beer garden, we have restaurants up there, we have a kids zone, you know, so a really, really great experience. If you're looking for something to do or coming out to watch some really good basketball, that's going to be an experience for you. So we hope to see everybody there. And again, we're building this and growing this. It's going to be something really special starting off this year and this season. And it starts tonight. Starts at 7:00 tonight. So
7:00 tonight, SIUE versus Maryville University. Opening the season, an exhibition game between Division II Maryville and SIUE before the regular season kicks off, or tips off, I should say, on Monday. Coach, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you tonight.
Yes, thank you. See you guys.
Yep. That's head coach Samantha Quigley-Smith from SIUE Women's Basketball, and it has been a pleasure. My first year as the play-by-play broadcaster for SIUE, I had done public address for them and for the men's team for years. And then when I took the transition to take on the broadcasting role, that was Coach Quigley-Smith's first year. And so I've gotten to watch her develop this team and grow this team. And man, they're fun to watch. They're going to be really fun to watch this year. They have a boatload of shooters. They are going to fire up some shots this year, and they're going to score points, and it is going to be fun to watch. She loves to push the pace. It's an exciting brand of basketball. SIUE tonight versus Maryville. Get your tickets, SIUECougars.com, or tune in right here, KXOK, 102.9 FM, and KXOK on the Odyssey app. STLSportZone.com will carry it. U.S. Radio Network. It'll be all over the place tonight. Here in the St. Louis metro area and worldwide via online stream. All right. Great interview with head coach Samantha Quigley-Smith. When we come back, Mizzou plays Georgia on Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit about that and get you caught up a little bit on the NFL and news and notes after the trade deadline. You're listening to The Mole Hole right here on KXOK and KWRH.
El Potro Restaurant and Market, located at 6920 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland, offers the finest variety of Mexican and Central American groceries and goods. El Potro Restaurant serves authentic Mexican and Central American cuisine, including daily specials, not to mention the best horchata and tastiest margaritas in St. Louis. Open 7 days a week. El Potro, 6920 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland.
Are you a company who needs help recruiting and hiring full-time professionals in the areas of engineering or information technology? Then call Steve Tucker at Talent Edge. Steve has over 25 years experience in recruiting as a partner and can really give you the edge you need. Also, calling all candidates looking for new opportunities in engineering or IT. Steve will help match your skill set to the right opportunity. 314-276-0074 or check out Talent Edge at talentedgellc.net. Once again, 314-276-0074. Talent Edge Digital is a full-service digital marketing agency that helps local businesses grow online. They offer everything from logo and branding to website design, search engine optimization, and paid advertising on Google and Facebook. Height was just named to the top marketing agency list for 2022 by St. Louis Small Business Monthly. Contact them today for a free digital audit to see how you can grow. That's Height Digital, HITE digital.com/ST-Louis. We are back in the mole hole. Thanks once again to head coach Samantha Quigley-Smith from SIU Women's Basketball. Their season begins tonight. Tune in right here, 7 o'clock. I'll be on the call. You get to hear me again on KXOK. Hopefully that doesn't mean that people go, oh, no, I'm not. I'll listen to something else. Yeah, excited for the season for Coach and SIUE women's basketball this year. And again, those of you listening on KWRH in the Webster and surrounding areas, that's a local star, KK Rodriguez, who played at Webster High School, and she's preseason All-OVC this year. Phenomenal player, college player, and it'll be so anyway. Good. The roster is made up of a lot of local products on the Illinois side and in Missouri. So, yeah, tune in. Get on board. SIUE women's basketball starts tonight. All right. Switching gears. First, I want to say I love in sports when a fan base gets to celebrate for the very first time. And last night, the Texas Rangers won the World Series. They've never won the World Series. As you know, the last time they were in the World Series, David Freese punched them in the gut, stabbed them in the heart in 2011 with his game-winning homer in Game 6, and then the Cardinals won it in Game 7. The Rangers actually in Game 6 were, 2 times, 1 strike away from winning it, and the Cardinals, as Joe Buck said, just wouldn't go away, and the Cardinals ended up winning the World Series. So the Rangers fans finally, 12 years later, they get to celebrate. And it's the first time that franchise has ever won the World Series. So I always like that. I love when, which is why I had said a few weeks ago, I'm kind of jumped on the NFL Detroit Lions bandwagon. They have never been to a Super Bowl. And they're good. And so, I feel for fan bases like that who have been struggling and rooting for years and years and years. Unless you're the Cubs, it would have still been funny had they never won the World Series. The fact that they went over 100 years made me laugh. But other than that, other than them, I do love when new fan bases or fan bases that have rooted for an organization forever and have never won finally win. That's awesome. You know, Rangers fans, how many people in the Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington area have called in sick today. Oh, it's a record high, a record high as they get to celebrate their first World Series. Yeah, congratulations, Jordan Montgomery, who we traded there at the deadline. He gets a ring. Adolis Garcia, who the Cardinals just basically gave up on, sold him to the Rangers for cash. He's now a World Series champion. And a bullpen arm, I think, for the Rangers. His name is escaping me, but excuse me, pitching coach Mike Maddox, who the Cardinals moved on from because he was too old school and they wanted more analytics. He wins a World Series with Bruce Bochy, another old school manager who has now won 4 times and joins Tony La Russa as winning a World Series in both leagues. I mean, but we have to move forward with analytics. It has to be analytic driven. Not so fast. The Texas Rangers have a manager that is not from the analytics school. Not to say he doesn't use them, but he is not an analytics-driven manager. A pitching coach who I'm sure uses analytics, but is not an 100% analytics-driven pitching coach. It's a tool to help you do your job. And they won the World Series. Shocking. Amazing. And I don't feel like Bruce Bochy is a general manager's yes man. I don't think they hired Bruce Bochy to do whatever the general manager says. No. They hired him. They give him the tools. He uses them. He probably uses his gut. And he wins a World Series. Huh. I don't know what to make of it. So, congratulations. I didn't mean to go on that rant, but it's a good rant. It's always a good rant. Congratulations to the Rangers. That's awesome. St. Louis Blues continue to struggle. I think I saw 1 for 24 on the power play this year. Oh, my goodness. When you lose snipers, guys who are adept and have a skill at scoring from either side of the point, inside the point in the circles, especially David Perron. That guy was such a weapon on the power play when the Blues would move that puck around and then feed him with a one-timer from the slot there. He was money. He's gone. Left before last year. Vladimir Tarasenko, pure goal scorer, gone. When you lose guys like that and you don't have veteran goal scorers to replace them, you're going to see a power play like that struggle. 1 for 24. Here's hoping the Blues can turn that around. St. Louis City, didn't get a chance to talk about them. I stayed up last Sunday to watch that opening round. First of all, horrible weather. The rain, the cold, the wind, it looked miserable. But guess what? St. Louis, who can only support 2 sports at a time, according to some people that left after the 2015 season that now play in Los Angeles, they can only support 2 teams. Sold out 22,000 on a school night, work night at 9:25 with the cold, the rain, the wind, sold out, and the crowd was bonkers. The team didn't show up. That was tough. That was tough to watch. I stayed up to watch it all the way to the end. I wanted to turn it off when it got to be 4-1, and I was like, no, I want to drink this in. I want to watch this first ever MLS playoff game here in St. Louis. Fans delivered, experience delivered. Rough game. Now, I will say, Saw a lot of social media aggravation about how can we be dominated like that by the number 8 seed. They talked about it on the broadcast. Sporting KC started the year 0-7-3. No wins in their first 10 games. From that point on, they had the best record in the conference. Sporting KC is good. They are not your typical number 8 seed. They were the number 1. They had the best record in the conference after the first 10 games. So this isn't like you're playing some typical team that snuck in. They snuck in a different way. Started terrible and then were, for most of the season, very, very good. This is not a, like in the NFL when you get a 8-9 team who sneaks into the playoffs. Sporting KC is really good. So the city's got their work cut out for them. Sunday, 5 o'clock Sunday or 4 o'clock Sunday? I think 5 o'clock right here on KXOK, the Spanish language broadcast for City on Sunday, game 2 versus Sporting KC in Kansas. All right, let's talk about it. Mizzou fans. Look, Tigers have their work cut out for them. Georgia's a 2-touchdown favorite. I mean, Vegas knows what they're doing, right? We know that. This would be a huge win and a big upset. Let's be honest. Of those of you who know me, I work for Mizzou. I am a Mizzou homer. You cut me right now. It's black and gold, everyone, coming out of my veins. Tonight, it'll be red and white for SIUE on this arm. But over here on Saturday, you cut it, it'll be black and gold. I'm a huge, huge Mizzou homer. I do think Mizzou can win. I don't think it's impossible. But let's remember a couple of things going into this game before Mizzou fans lose their minds on Saturday if it doesn't go the way we want. Georgia has won 41 of their last 42 games. Georgia doesn't lose at home. I didn't do the research, but I can't remember the last time Georgia lost a home game. I want everyone to go through the college football playoff rankings came out yesterday or Tuesday. Go through the CFP rankings and tell me any team in that top 10 that you're sure would walk into Athens, Georgia, and beat Georgia. I've looked at the list. Ohio State, they're not going to beat Georgia there, I don't think. Michigan, maybe. Michigan has a style of play that I think travels on the road. But not Oklahoma. They just lost to Kansas. Texas lost to Oklahoma. Now, Texas did go into Alabama and win this year. But Alabama is not, we've talked about it all season, Alabama is not the dominant Alabama it has been the last several years. They're still great, top 10 team, but they're not top 3. USC, they can't play defense. They've now lost 2 in a row. Oregon, maybe, but it's a maybe. There is nobody in the country, I would say, oh yeah, they could go into Athens, Georgia and win. Nobody. So as we look at this game Saturday, let's keep it realistic, Mizzou fans. This is going to be a tough game. I think Mizzou can hang. I do think Mizzou can hang. I think Mizzou can score. As long as Mizzou doesn't shoot themselves in the foot with bad penalties or turnovers and they play a clean game, I think they can hang with Georgia. They did it at home last year. They were at home, but they had Georgia on the ropes, middle of the fourth quarter, up by 4 points, driving, had a first down inside the 40-yard line before a illegal hands to the face penalty negated that first down. Mizzou had to punt. Georgia drove down the field and won the game. So Mizzou proved last year they can hang with Georgia, but they cannot make those crucial mistakes at the wrong time. Had that penalty not occurred, Mizzou has it, first down inside the 40, obviously within Harrison Mevis's field goal range. They get a field goal there, and they're up 7 with 5 minutes left. You never know. You never know. So, look, for those saying, oh, Mizzou's going to get blown out, I disagree. I do not think that'll happen. I think Mizzou will hang. It's going to be a tough game. There's a path to victory, and that path is mistakes, especially penalties, at crucial moments. That's part of it. The other part is, can the defense step up? They've been playing so good the last several weeks. Can they continue that play? Because Georgia's quarterback, Beck, is getting better and better every week. They lost their all-world tight end, Brock Bowers, for the season. Didn't matter because last week they stomped Florida without him. Let's also remember the Tigers' defensive backs. They've got a little something to play for. Dominic Lovett left Mizzou last year to go to Georgia. He's a wide receiver there now. And so, those Tigers corners are going to be real excited to line up against Dominic Lovett this week. They have to put pressure on the quarterback. Their quarterback is not what Jaden Daniels is at LSU. Jaden Daniels gets out of the pocket and boom, he's gone. He's fast. Beck is not that style of quarterback. He's nifty. He's shifty. He can get out of the pocket and make throws, but he's not going to take off and run on you 45 yards down the field with his speed. So I think Georgia's style of play helps Mizzou. I think they can hang. I do think Mizzou can hang. I don't, Mizzou fans will tell you every year, they'll look at games and go, oh, Mizzou's going to get blown out. Mizzou's going to get blown out. I don't think there's a game on the schedule that's left that Mizzou will get blown out. And as a matter of fact, even if you don't think they can win in Athens, every other game is winnable. Florida got stomped last week at playing Georgia on a neutral site, and they lost to Kentucky. Mizzou beat Kentucky. Tennessee is not as dominant offensively as they have been in years past. And Arkansas is not good. They're 2-6. They're not good. And those are the 3 games left after this Georgia game. So regardless of what happens Saturday, there's still a special season lined up here for Mizzou. There's a path to 10 wins. And that is amazing. Now, I will be watching Saturday very carefully and closely on the edge of my seat. And I cannot wait for the game because I really, this team just seems different. It's a 2:30 game on CBS. National TV, everyone. On national TV for the world to see. And I'm very, very excited. And I do think Mizzou is capable of hanging in and having a chance. I do. I definitely think they'll cover the 14. 2-touchdown favorite. I think Mizzou will cover that. So let's go. Let's go. M-I-Z. M-I-Z. I can't wait. Oh. And by the way, how great is it that once it's been a long time since Mizzou has played a game this meaningful against this type of opponent. It's awesome just to be in this spot. We're 7-1. We're ranked 12th in the college football playoff. Top 15 in the country. Come on, man. It's all gravy, baby. It's all gravy. So excited. And how about the Mizzou fan these days? Super excited about Dennis Gates and the basketball program after last year. Very excited about this year. They have the #1 right now recruiting class for 2024. So Mizzou men's basketball is at its peak in excitement. Mizzou's football team is now at its peak in excitement. It is refreshing and fun to be on the peak of excitement side of Mizzou sports. Mizzou basketball tips on Monday in an exhibition game. And then Mizzou men's basketball gets Memphis, who's a very good program, on Friday, the 10th of November for their official home opener, which I can't wait for that. So, man, it's exciting times, for Mizzou sports. I can't wait. All right. A little bit of NFL talk. The Chiefs lost on Sunday at Denver. That's a shame. What I find very amusing is when people come on social media and go, well, Taylor Swift wasn't at the game. And they lost. I love it. You know what? You got a lot of football fans out there who are so aggravated with the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. I'm not aggravated with it at all. I love it. I think it's awesome. It's fun. Relax, everyone. Have some fun with it. Good Lord. You got the mega star in entertainment in the world, Taylor Swift, and most arguably one of the most popular athletic figures in the United States, Travis Kelce. And there's something going on there. I think it's fun. I love it. But the Chiefs might want to negotiate a permanent seat at the games. In their 2 losses this year, they have 2 losses. Taylor Swift was not there for those 2 losses. So if you Chiefs fans, you better hope Taylor shows up in Germany. Are they in Germany Sunday? I think they're playing in Germany Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. What a great game that's going to be. Hold on, I'm checking to make sure, but I think it's Germany. They're definitely overseas on Sunday. I know that. Yeah. This is great radio. Let me check. Let me see where this game is real quick. Use my creepy voice. Yes! Frankfurt, Germany. 8:30 a.m. Central starting time on Sunday for Chiefs Dolphins in Germany. Taylor better make the trip. Dolphins, one of the best offenses in football, up and down the field. They're a track team. Their defense isn't very good. Against the Chiefs, that's going to be a wildly entertaining game. Really, really good game to start your Sunday morning. Tonight's game's a snoozer. Tennessee at Pittsburgh. I've never been a Steelers fan, but I've always admired the Steelers. Always 500 or better, usually fighting for a playoff spot. They're up and down this year. Tennessee's terrible. They got a win last week with Will Levis as the starter, former quarterback in the SEC. Got his start. He threw 4 touchdowns. What a great start. And they wore the Houston Oilers throwback uniforms, which was awesome. Miami, Kansas City is the marquee game of the week. A couple other interesting games this week. Seattle travels to Baltimore. Both good teams. That's an interesting game. NFC, AFC battle between Seattle and the Ravens. And then you've got Dallas at Philadelphia. That's going to be a good game for the NFC East. In the NFC East, Dallas just stomped the Rams last week. Again, that's a shame. The Chiefs and Rams both lost last Sunday. That was a fun Sunday. But now they travel to Philly and play the Eagles. That's a huge game because both teams fighting for that NFC East title. And then another really interesting game, the Sunday night game, is Buffalo at Cincinnati. Last year, the Bengals went into Buffalo and beat the Bills in the playoffs to go to the AFC Championship game. And now the Bengals will get Buffalo at home. Buffalo's offense has been up and down. Some games they're rolling up 30, 35, 40 points, and then other games are scoring 17, 20, 21. The Bengals, by the way, everyone wrote off the Bengals. Joe Burrow's not healthy. I said it. Joe Burrow didn't look right. He had that bad calf. Didn't look like he could throw deep because he couldn't plant. Bengals offense looked bad, blah, blah, blah. They've won several games in a row now, and their defense has gotten better and better. So that's a huge Sunday night game. Bills at Bengals, and that'll play for seeding eventually in the AFC when it comes playoff time. The Monday night game, I'm a LA Chargers fan. I like the not a fan, but I like the Chargers. And they play out the Jets. The Jets. The Jets are tough to watch. But big games this week. Miami, Kansas City, Dallas, Philly, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Seattle, Baltimore. Those are the 4 best games this week. So that's an interesting week here in the NFL. This is crossover season for me, which makes it very, very busy. So not to lay it out there for everyone, just to have people feel sorry for me, because you shouldn't. But I've got, let's check the calendar. I've got, I'll be calling, for those that care, SIUE women's basketball tonight versus Maryville. I will be on the call on the Cadet Network for CBC football on Friday. They play second round districts at Marquette. Then Sunday, I get on the bus with SIUE, travel to Stillwater, Oklahoma for the Monday night game, SIUE on the road at Oklahoma State. And then next Thursday, I've got SIUE at home, their home opener versus Eastern Kentucky on the 9th. Mizzou basketball, I'll be doing public address on Friday versus Memphis. Then public address Saturday for Mizzou football, the 11th versus Tennessee. Sunday, back home in Edwardsville, the 12th, for SIUE women's basketball against Evansville. And then Monday, the 13th, back in Columbia for Mizzou men's basketball versus, oh no, I won't be at that game. I'm not working that game. Sorry. I got ahead of myself. But I'm talking tonight and Friday, and then Monday of next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of next week. I mean, this is my busy, November is the busiest time of year. You got football and basketball crossing over, and it gets a little crazy with my schedule. Not only that, I'm doing this show every Thursday at 8 a.m., baby. The Mole Hole. All right. I think that's it for my show today. I do want to throw out to any listeners, if you own a business or know anyone who owns a business, might be interested in doing some advertising on the SIUE broadcasts here on KXOK. If you're a comment on this Facebook Live, or you can shoot me an email, rmohlman, that's RMOEHLMAN @hotmail.com. Send me an email. Reasonable, very, very reasonable advertising prices to be on the broadcast for SIUE basketball during this season. Would love to partner with you on that. And don't forget, Webster Groves Kirkwood, Turkey Day game, noon on Thanksgiving, right here on KXOK. It'll be me and Michael Langston on the call for Webster versus Kirkwood from Kirkwood High School this year, 12 noon on Thanksgiving. Don't forget that as well. All right. This has been the Mole Hole. Until next Thursday at 8 a.m. So long, everybody.